Hello everybody and welcome to Time Clock Plus. This portion is for those individuals who would be classified as a supervisor. These are the frontline people who would be responsible for monitoring student employees' hours on a daily basis. Those who are the shift supervisor. Within Time Clock Plus, you have a category that is called Other. And this is where you as a supervisor would be approving the hours. If you notice here within these areas here all have check marks, and you see that there's a little lock. This is because the pay period has ended from the 16th through the 30th of September, and now we are in a new pay period of the 1st through the 15th. And so therefore then these periods are open and are not locked. As a supervisor, you would only be worried about the section that says Other Approval. Your manager or director, they are the ones who are responsible for the manager approval. And if you notice in this column, as you see these two red X's, these X's indicate that you as a supervisor do not have access. So once you've approved time for your individual employees, then the manager or director can go in and approve the time. So I know as I'm looking at Teresita's time, she worked on the 2nd from 10 o'clock until 1:06. That's when she clocked out. So I'm going to go ahead and put a check mark here because that's the exact time. There was not any issues. She also worked on the 4th from 9:45 to 9:48 to 1 p.m. and I'm going to check this box as well. So her times, according to what I know with her schedule, are correct. So I can come up here to apply changes, and therefore then it's been approved. So let me scroll on down here to Christina's. Now Christina has something different, and most of you are not going to have this function of your employees are going to be clocking in and clocking out. However, in some areas, in some locations and departments that we have on campus or off campus, we have a timesheet option and timesheet function. It functions as the same as a clocking in and clocking out, with the exception that the individual puts in the time. Christina puts in her time at 10 o'clock, and she says that I worked for 2.5 hours. And so I go ahead and I click on that. Christina started on the 3rd, and she worked at 11 o'clock. Now I have got a paper timesheet that backs this up, and I know that she worked 2 hours on the 3rd. And then she also came back later on. She had class, so then after class she came back in at 4 o'clock, and she worked for another 2.5 hours. Now ideally she could have had these two times put in as one whole of 4.5 hours, but it's nice for me to know that on her other timesheet that I see that she worked then from 11 until 1, went to class, came back in at 4 o'clock, and worked in the evening. So I can go here, and then I can say Apply Changes, and now her shift has been approved. If by chance there's been a problem or an issue with an employee's time, you will see right here, and if I can open that up, for this individual there's a little note, and this is where the supervisor can put in, as well as the employee can say that they had a problem. So Michael said he clocked out, but for whatever reason it failed. And this is where you as a supervisor, if there's been a mispunch or an exception, you can fix it by going in and fixing the time. And then I always recommend for everybody to use the note function and to add a note. This is what Mary Kelly had done. This is at the time. It's a timestamp, so it shows when she put in the time and on one date. And if you notice over here, this section right in here is all green, and that means it was blue because there was a missed out punch, an exception called a missed out punch. But she went in and fixed it. After she fixed it, here's an edit. It says, yes, this time was edited, as well as putting in a note and saying that that was the case. And then I'm going to go ahead and do this for Mary Kelly because we talked about this morning, and I know that this was an issue for her. So I am going to go ahead, and for me, I can approve it for her. You will only have your employees that you are responsible for. Those will be the only employees that you are going to see as a supervisor. Managers and directors, you will see all the employees underneath your department and your division. But supervisors will only see those that they are in direct supervision on. This is the first portion of just accepting the time that students have put in, acknowledging that, and then applying the changes to it.